Hey, what's up, guys? This is Dan Wilson, and you are listening to the D-Don.Life podcast. Getting a little bit of a late start today because I decided to go to Kowalski and grab some oranges. So one of the things I do recently is that when I get hungry for a snack, I will go to Kowalski and get 3 or 4 oranges. A lot of times I just do cantaloupe too, or honeydew. But I think oranges are sort of in season right now, citrus. So I went and I got 3 oranges. However, things took a unfortunate turn and I got a bag of chips. I wasn't trying to eat chips, but it was a failure on my part. I broke. They got me at checkout because they have a little stand right in front of the checkout lane where they're displaying these new chips, and they looked pretty good, so I purchased a bag. And I mindlessly ate about half of the bag. After I realized I ate half of the bag mindlessly, I basically woke up from my hypnotism, my hypnosis, and was holding a bag of chips like, how the fuck did these get into my hand? Oh my God, they got me. They got me at the checkout lane. So, you win some, you lose some, but it's okay. So I did eat the oranges and the chips, and I feel fine. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to work it off. We have a conditioning day. We'll do a little bit of, you burn 20 calories on the bike, and then you go do 10 box jumps on the 24-inch box jump, on the 24-inch box. And then you go back and do 20 calories again on the bike, then go do 10 box jumps. And you go through that 5 times. And I think that's pretty good. It's good burn. My legs are burning. My lungs start to burn a little bit. So it's a good conditioning circuit. And then later, I think we're doing deadlifts and some power push-ups, some other things and others. But what I wanted to talk about today, first, I've meant to bring this up in the past couple-day podcast, but I want to just say it before I forget that I had this dream a couple nights ago where I was sitting bedside with a very elderly woman, and she was about to die. And it felt like my grandma, but it wasn't my grandma. But it felt like I really loved this woman, and it was a very sentimental, emotional feeling by her bedside. And I mean, we were in her last minute of life, and she reached out to hold my hand, and I held her hand, and it was like I was waiting because I knew she was about to go on, she was about to leave and blast off. And I remember just thinking to myself, like holding her, and it was such an emotional scene in my dream. But it was, I really, after thinking about it for a couple of days, I don't know who this woman was, but she was very elderly. And while I was holding her hand, she died. And in my head, I was thinking, am I going to kind of be able to know when the life leaves her body? Will I be able to feel it? Is something going to change, and I just kind of woke up after that. And I remember saying to myself that I was sort of praying in my dream, saying, I knew she was going to blast off. I knew she was leaving. And in my head, I thought, what can I say to let whoever receives her on the other side know that this woman is loved and that we love her very much, and to treat her well when she gets there. So that was kind of the things I was saying out loud in my dream. And I woke up and it was just really weird and dramatic. Anyways, the point that I'm trying to make, I don't know if there is a point, actually. I had a point, but I wanted to talk about the simulation hypothesis. And if you haven't seen the documentary, The Simulation Hypothesis, it's on YouTube. Sometimes on the weekend nights, since I don't really drink alcohol. I do very rarely. And when I do, it's one or two. But I do like to unwind on the weekend. And a lot of places have legalized other forms of recreational relaxation. And I really like those things. So sometimes I partake in these things, and I get talking with my friends, and it's happened a few times where this is granted, we are in a simulation. We're talking about the simulation, how we're in a simulation, the different scenarios that could possibly exist. Are we all in a simulation and everyone's real? And so the idea is that our mind is basically somewhere else in a different dimension, and we are connected to our bodies, and it's connected through a signal. So the best thing I've heard to compare it to is like if you are Mario on Mario Brothers, running through the Mario Brothers world, but you're being controlled by the guy behind the TV holding the controller. Mario, I know Mario's not alive, but my point is Mario doesn't know that he's in the two-dimensional Mario world, but he's alive through you. You're controlling him. So what if this is just a highly sophisticated version of like virtual reality? And when we beam down into it, we agree to not remember that we are in a sophisticated virtual reality simulation. So anyways, the questions when we're talking about this, it's like, is it multiplayer? So like a lot of these people are just part of the game that I interact with. Just like if I'm in Halo, if I'm playing Halo online, and you can play with other people online, and those are all people sitting in their house behind their controller. And then you meet up with them in this virtual world, in the Halo world. But sometimes the guys you kill that are just part of the program, they look just like the guys that are being controlled by a guy with a controller. So ultimately, you don't really know which ones are part of the program and which ones are being controlled by someone else. So my question is that what this simulation that we're living in is, are there people that are just part of the computer program, and then there's people that are actually being controlled basically from another dimension, through a controller of some sort? Or is this whole thing just for me? And so when I'm talking to, like, it always happens with Nick. Whenever I'm talking to Nick, we start talking about the simulation, and then I start thinking, oh my God, is he even real? And I start staring at his face, and I just like start tweaking out because I start feeling like Nick isn't even real. This is just part of my program. So the universe is so big and vast, and it's just a big giant computer processor, and there's billions of dimensions and billions of different programs, and we're all living in our own program that was made just for us. And every person in your life is just computer program, and you interact with them just like you interact with the little mushroom things in Mario. They're not actually conscious. like you are. There's no one behind the eyes. You know what I'm saying? They are part of the program. They were written into the code. And at the end, it can end however you want. History is all just part of the program. The history of the world that you learned about or read about, that's all just part of the program. All the problems, everything. Every car you see drive by, that thing is there just for your program. So when I start thinking about it that way, I feel like it can get kind of lonely thinking I'm the only one actually here, and that you listening to this right now are not actually there listening to it. I'm just saying this into this microphone right now because part of my program is that I was going to do a podcast. I beamed down into this body from another dimension so that I could do a fucking podcast. Not a very warm feeling. Very lonely, actually. So I'm not saying I think that's what's up. I'm not trying to say that's how I think it is. I'm just saying that feeling hits me sometimes during these recreational weekend nights where I'm trying to have a good time and I'm just, starting to and I'm talking to, like I said, it always happens with Nick. But yeah, creepy, dude. Fucking creepy. Anyways, I'm about to go to MASH Performance. I'm going to do a killer workout. The guys over there, they know what they're doing. The plans, the booklets that you get, there's nothing better. It's the best. It really is the best. So if you're interested, you can contact me at ddon.lifepodcast@gmail.com or Facebook. Don't forget to subscribe to the ddon.life YouTube channel. I'd really appreciate that. Anyways, this is 365 days of podcasting, and I will see you guys tomorrow.